Okay, can you just tell me a little bit about how the contracts being imposed are going to affect people who don't work full time?
Okay, well, I've read the equality assessment, and it comes to the majority of people that work less than full time are women, and about 60% of doctors in the NHS anyway are women, so that's a massive proportion of doctors that work in the NHS. Basically, in the equality assessment, it points out things like childcare is going to be more difficult potentially to arrange, and the document refers to it as formal childcare, so that's talking about nursery, and they're saying that it's going to be more difficult to arrange that because you're not going to know which days of the week you'd normally be working, so you won't be able to book your child into nursery those days, so that's going to be more difficult. So what they've suggested in the equality report, which I actually think is quite patronising to women, is that perhaps people will be able to arrange their own informal childcare instead, which is going to be cheaper, and lots of people live far away from their families in medicine because that's just the way it is. You have to take the jobs where they are. So I work 120 miles away from my family, so they're not going to be able to come and babysit kids if I have them in the future if I'm going to work. And also, what grandparents want to babysit children, 3 nights a week, it's a big commitment, even if you do have family close to Leicester, or where you work. So that's going to be one of the major problems, I think. Another thing that I find really annoying about that report is it talks about how the changes to the contract are going to improve relations between male and female doctors, which I find incredibly patronising, because as far as I'm aware, we don't hate each other. Men and female doctors don't hate each other, because one of us works less than full time, one doesn't. So I just think that it's been written by somebody that really obviously doesn't understand the way the NHS and doctors work. So yeah, and they've said that the kind of discrimination to less than full-time workers, mostly women, is kind of something that's inevitable and that it's legitimate because it's a means